There is something about a cakey goodness covered in frosting.
I don't like what's inside it, though. It doesn't taste nice.
Oh, what?
No. And then they were like, try it warm. And I tried it warm. I was like, no, this is even worse.
Well, yeah, I don't understand the people that that feel that you should put these in the toaster, because that's psychotic.
Your son has it in the toaster.
Yeah, so does my wife. I don't understand that. I eat them how nature intended, which is raw and out of the package.
Right.
Because that's the only way to enjoy the Pop-Tart. And I only enjoy a couple of different flavors, like blueberry, and it has to be frosted, and then strawberry, and it has to be frosted. Cherry is okay. After that, I don't like any of them. Like my son likes brown sugar and cinnamon.
Nice. I could see that on a pancake, brown sugar and cinnamon. Yeah, with a bit of lemon and lemon juice. Yeah.
You're getting all fancy there.
And welcome back to the best thing you watched this week. I caught Chris drinking from his coffee.
Busted.
That's Chris from Movies and Munchies, myself, Ruben from the Ruby Tuesday. If you're listening on audio and Chris has a deeper, gruffer voice more than usual, it's because he has a manly cold, and we all know how deadly those are. So, send him along your sympathies. If you're a woman, you must understand, if you've been with men, how bad the colds are. It's like giving birth, really. It's just really terrible.
Oh, wow, you've just opened up like shots fired here. I'm ducking out of the way. Chris has not said any of this.
I speak for both of us, Chris.
Oh, no, you do not.
All right. We got our normal formula this week. We're going to talk about the movie quiz, whoever won the movie quiz, and Chris will do another 3 for us. I will ask all of us a stupid question. We would talk about the best thing we watched and the worst thing we watched in our audio exclusive segment, along with a movie that Chris hasn't seen, but I've seen a number of times, and I've been wanting him to watch this for ages. Which is that? Excited. What's that one?
I saw a different name there. It is Odd Thomas with Anton Yelchin.
Yes. I watched it again. I'm glad I did.
I went completely out of focus.
Chris is blurry. It's all good. That's the height of professionalism. So I think, our Patreon is there. It starts at £1. We've got new content pretty much every week on there. Our Patreons ask us, depending on what tier you're on, because it goes from £1 and it goes higher, you can ask us what you would like us to review, whether it's movies, TV series, or you want to jump on with us and discuss something entertainment. That's what we do on the Patreon. Audio exclusive content as well as the video content. There's just more like in the extra audio bit. So that movie I was talking about, that we're going to be talking about, the worst thing we've watched this week, that's what we're going to talk about, as well as entertainment news and what we are looking forward to. And I'm excited. These what we're looking forward to in the next few weeks are just going to get better and more interesting, because this is the time of year when we get the big titles. Studios start putting out the stuff they've been holding back towards the end of the year. And this is the last batch of good content we're going to be getting for a while, because obviously the strikes are still going on. And so we're going to end up having a massive gap, which I guess will give us time to catch up on some of the stuff we've missed, Chris. And we'll be maybe giving people some ideas of things that they wanted to watch but they weren't sure on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think as it slows down, which I really hope it doesn't, because that means that the studios have decided to pay everybody a fair and living wage and give them residuals, and all of the demands are met, which are not outrageous by any means. They are. I really think they should be asking for more, really.
But even what they're asking for isn't like big.
There's nothing extravagant about this. This is just to be able to live and function. So if that doesn't unfortunately get resolved soon, then I'm looking forward to diving into a lot of the older stuff and just things that I have missed, because my lists are stupid long.
Yes, exactly. I'm excited to talk about one this week that I managed to actually tick off my list. So we'll do that in the best thing we watched. But for now, the movie quiz. We have some winners?
We did. Yeah. Tara Briscoe and Red Comet. Red Comet actually knew the theme for last week.
Okay.
So the answers were Best in Show,
Never seen it.
The Fugitive, and Wreck-It Ralph.
Nice.
Now, the theme, which probably threw some people, was Jane Lynch movies. Because the first quote is not from Jane Lynch.
Oh.
She didn't do that one, but
All right.
it was Fred Willard as from Best in Show, as he's the commentator.
Yeah, I've never seen Best in Show. I don't even know what that is. Your face.
What?
I've never heard of it.
Never seen Best in...
I'm looking it
Holy
up.
crap. Everybody, we are about to go on a trip right here. Have you seen A Mighty Wind or Waiting for Guffman?
No.
This is Spinal Tap?
Yeah, I've seen Spinal Tap, yeah.
Okay. So these movies are like This is Spinal Tap.
Oh, look at that cast. Jeez.
Oh, yeah. No, it's brilliant.
Okay.
So,
I'll
okay.
definitely
You and I
stick
are
that
going to
on my
have a
list,
chat.
yeah. Okay.
We're going to, yeah. Okay. Are you ready for this week's?
Yes.
Okay. Stop touching your face, Dave. Okay. You don't tell me things, Joel. I'm an open book. I tell you Let me start over. You don't tell me things, Joel. I'm an open book. I tell you everything. Every damn embarrassing thing. Last one. I don't know, but I think what I've got is something slightly resembling gumption.
Recognize that one. I don't know about the first two.
Yeah,
Okay.
you really enjoy the last movie. I know that.
Yeah.
So
Nice. Okay.
Well,
Once again, bringing out the complicated ones. Well, not even just those dialogue lines that don't sound like famous quotes. They're just a line in the movie which you've picked out randomly. You've gone through the scripts and gone, this gets us really off kilter one.
this is going to be strange. Yes, let's do that.
This is from the cutting room floor on the special edition in the outtakes.
Exactly. As long as you understand what I'm doing, then we're totally good.
Oh, my word, Chris.
Oh, man. But let us know in the comments your guesses. We'll give you the shout out next week. Make sure to leave a little bit of space so that it doesn't ruin it for anybody else that's trying to guess. Ruben, though, do you have a silly, stupid, weird, off-putting question for us?
Yes.
It was an or, not an and.
Or,
there.
but, and all together at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah, if you suddenly got put into the wormhole that is Quantum Leap, and you could choose which person ahead of time, well, not let's just say past time, in the past or now, to be any person, but you would be stuck in their body, who would you choose to be?
Oh, man. And are we following the Quantum Leap rules where I can only jump in my lifetime?
Yeah, no, I said you're there for, that's it. You get one jump.
Well, no. But I mean, you know how Sam Beckett can only jump within the years that he's actually been alive. It's not like he can jump back to the 1800s.
No. We're not following that. Look, doesn't Sam Beckett go back in the past?
Well, yeah, he goes back in the past, but I thought he could only jump within his lifetime. Well, you know what that means, is it's a time for a rewatch, because that is an excellent show.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I don't know if it holds up.
There's a remake that I started watching. I was like, I can't.
No, can't do it.
No.
I believe the first episode takes place in my hometown of Sacramento.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay. Who would I want to be? And I would have to live out my life then, right? As that person.
Yeah, so even if you went back in time, you're stuck in that time.
That's tough, because like if I go too far back, everybody dies really, really young or horrible deaths.
Yeah, so you choose someone famous, and they're probably in a battle, caught some disease, your husband or wife chopped your head off, those things.
Yeah. I would like to be, even though he died young, Tutankhamun. I think that to see ancient Egypt, which at that point even still wasn't even ancient. It was it was newer because some of the things were older, way older.
Yeah.
That would be interesting, I think. I know I would die very soon, and I don't know if he was murdered or not, but yeah. How about you?
What's a toss-up between two? Like, if the Bible is accurate with Abraham, then he was like 900 years old. So you get to live a long time. But everything that he went through, I'm not sure I want to experience all of that. So that's like, I could be Elon Musk, but do you get, like, if you become that person, do you have their demeanor and the way they are as a person? Because he's a bit weird. So I don't know. I want to find out what's actually going on in his brain.
Well, if you're following Quantum Leap, then no, you take over.
You just take
over.
over.
So you get to, it's you in
so
that
I won't
body.
invent anything more interesting, but at least I'll be able to make some better business decisions.
Well, I'm not sure he's invented anything. I mean, he's bought all his corporations and slapped his name on it. So,
yeah.
Okay. Well, you could really tweak him out then, and all the Musk bros who follow him like he's Jesus. Yeah.
Maybe that guy that thinks he's the best God's gift to men. What's his name?
Oh, what, Lord Andrew Tate?
Yes,
dude.
But it'd be worth it to like go in and then just go on TV and go, yes, I did all these things and I'm lying and here's all my open books. Just come and arrest me. And I'll be like,
I mean, you're doing humanity a favor, but see, you don't get to leap out of that body then. He doesn't actually experience the punishment that he deserves.
Yeah, no, that's true. That would be
I mean, he's just a sleaze bag, a waste of space. So he just...
All right. Clint Eastwood. Because he's lived a long time through movies. He's still around now. He has his wits about him. He's smart, intelligent, has a decent sum of money.
He's grumpy as hell, and I love it.
I love it, yeah. I want to be like Clint Eastwood when I grow up.
I'm getting there.
All right, let us know in the comments who you could choose. You could be one person, Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley, Heath Ledger. All of those are sad stories, actually. Yeah,
they are. You picked a downer there of a couple of people to say.
Yeah. That's an interesting one. Yeah, it's a tough choice, actually.
Yeah, well, and you could also be like, the elderly person down the road, but 75 years ago. They've had a decent life. They look like they're doing okay now, and you just jump into their life and...
Except it's the decisions they made to reach that. If I'm going to do the decision, I'm just going to end up all round in shape. And who knows how many years I got left.
I'm going to choose somebody with a very fast metabolism.
Yes, I have a couple of friends that do that, yeah. They can eat whatever they like and they don't put on any weight.
Could you imagine if you chose like Usain Bolt or something like that and then all of a sudden you have to run?
Like, how do I run?
Yeah.
You don't just run. There's a proper sides to it. What happened, Usain? I don't know.
Tripping and falling the whole time.
Someone tie my shoelaces.
Oh, man. Outstanding.
Okay, let's jump in.
Yes. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
I'll go first because this will be an interesting one. This film came out in 2022.
All right.
And let me just say, I hate men. Men suck. Like, there's so much wrong about men that I just don't understand why men exist. Because men are weird. And the film I finally got to see was Men. I'd never seen it before. I missed it at the cinema. I heard I think I watched a bit of a review. I stopped because I wanted to wait. I knew I was going to eventually see it. Love the director, but I knew that I needed to wait for a time when I had the space to really concentrate, because there's so much imagery or bits throughout the film that will have meaning to the wider arc of the story, but also to what's going on in the story. And then it's obviously going to be one of those films where you go, huh? And like at the end, like, what does it mean? So like you can sit with it and discuss it with your friends and family, and everybody will like, no, but I thought it meant this, and I thought it meant this, and you can go down a massive rabbit hole. But men, essentially, a woman is getting divorced from her husband. They have a massive fight, and it starts with his death, basically. And so she needs to go away and like just decompress, take some time to heal. She finds the eclectic English cottage. It couldn't be more English if you tried. It's exactly how that's exactly how English countrysides look. Thousands, millions of little villages. That's what it is. We don't always see it that way because a lot of the shots are always like above the hedges, but you're in a car or walking, you don't get to see a lot of that. But the words are, very accurate. It's one of the creepiest films I've seen in a long time. And this is saying something from our Patreons who keep giving us creepy films to watch. There's imagery in here. I mean, if you watch the trailer, you'll know that you're in for a ride. But there's imagery in here that will probably sit in my brain for a while. Like, did I just see that actually happening on screen? But it's also a builder. So it builds and builds. And you're asking yourself questions along the way, which I found really interesting. Because it's so obvious. Like, in the trailer, it's like, you have a cop, bartender, guy owns a house, but they all look alike. And I know it's only been a year, so I'm trying not to do massive spoilers, but that's in the trailer. One actor who, dude, does an amazing job. Like, why isn't he spoken more about of it, particularly in this role? Because he has to play all the roles. Like,
Rory Kinnear is phenomenal.
I mean, he's a great actor anyway, but the what he brings to screen, and so was the lady. What's her name?
Jessie Buckley.
Yes,
amazing in this.
And I really enjoyed it. I think it's a good head turner. It has a lot of symbolism. I do think it's a little bit heavy on the if I get the theme and what it actually means, that men suck. I think from her perspective, she's a broken lady that has experienced the trauma. So everything she sees then is how she perceives men to be. And so we have a look at the state of men in various states, which is often a threat to women. I get it. But like in different circumstances and different age groups and demographics, like it kind of encompasses all of them. There's a lot about symbolism of birth. Like, there's just so much you can read into this film. At the same time, it's just creepy. I was thinking it was all a dream. Like, she was unconscious or she was at home. But then there's a moment as the credits roll that like her friend comes to visit and she sees something and you're like, oh, so it's real? Okay, so what did you think of the film? Did you like it?
I remember really liking it, more than some. It has been quite a while. I mean, I didn't see it. I saw it when it came out, so it's been over a year, from that. I did really enjoy a lot of the symbolism, a lot of the messaging. If I'm remembering correctly, that part of the thing, and I mean, yes, it is saying men suck, but it's not an attack on men. It's more on the cycle of trauma that can be created, and unless it's stopped, it will continue and continue and continue. And and so she's experiencing that, and she's witnessing it and seeing it. And it's all, I mean, obviously it's framed by her experiences, but it also paints a picture of how, like you said, I mean, Rory Kinnear plays all different characters and different stages of life. The young boy, that's disturbing because his face is how he is, and it's just it's unsettling.
It's CG as well, so that's the only thing. It didn't work for me. I was just like,
it was I would have much preferred him to be like on his knees or something like that, kind of like Dorf on golf. I think you could have
gotten away with him, on his knees through the bush or the leaves or something, and make him. You could have done something to. You didn't need to have it full in view of the audience, because that kind of took me out. I was like, well, that's not real at all, is it?
Yeah, I do like that it displays how it doesn't matter who you are or what age you are, that you can be a trauma inducer.
Yeah.
You know, and that if you have that in you, if you have not broken that cycle, whether it was thrust upon you and you're now continuing it, or if you're the one starting it, whatever that is, if you don't take the steps to break that, then it just continues on, you know, and we watch that birth scene, which is horrific and disgusting.
But then there's also some real folklore
yes.
characterizations. There's a thing about the Green Man, which is thousands of years old, which is obviously part of the main kind of the mysticism that surrounds the story, which I thought was really interesting.
And you have, I mean, one of the characters I believe that Rory Kinnear plays is Adam, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, at the forbidden fruit, the tree with the apples, it totally makes sense. Yeah.
So it's I'm glad you saw this. I'm glad you liked it. It's
weird.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, and it is certainly not for everybody. I mean, that's but I think that's one of the better kinds of movies.
Oh yeah, I mean, like his movies, there's a lot of people that just either loved Ex Machina or didn't. And then there's a couple of others that he did that had the same feeling. Did
he do Annihilation?
Yes.
Yeah, he did.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. So, Alex Garland. I need to revisit Annihilation because the first time I saw it, I was not a fan.
Yeah, I remember you saying, yeah.
So I'll have to go back. It's on IMDb. It's on Netflix here in the U.S. So it is on IMDb also, just in case anybody was wondering. Just like every other movie. So will you revisit this one? Do you think anytime?
Yeah, I might
in the future.
My wife. I think it'd be interesting from her perspective. She was watching it the beginning with me, and then she had to go out. But I could see she was absorbed in trying to figure out what was actually going on. Yeah.
Well, I think, having those discussions, because my family went with me, and, us having that discussion of what we think, how it affected us, because each, you have your own experiences, which then help to frame your understanding and your interpretation of the movie, which I thought that's even better because then you get a whole bunch of perspectives that come in. And fun.
Nice. Cool. So what's on your first on your list?
The first on my list was a movie that I was on vacation this past week, so I missed out on some screeners or some screenings, and so I went to the theater, and it was not a packed theater. It's getting decimated in Rotten Tomatoes, but it's called The Last Voyage of the Demeter. And you can probably hopefully tell that because it's on my list, it is one of the best things I watched this week. It's a Dracula story. It's from Bram Stoker's Dracula, but it's a single chapter within that novel. And they've made a movie out of that. It's contained, self-contained. We're on a ship, and the ship is going from the
Transylvania.
Well, Carpathia, I don't know where that's at exactly. I don't remember, like near Romania, something like that. And then to London.
Yeah.
And along that 4-week journey, there's cargo on the ship, and one of the boxes contains Dracula. And so we watch this, and what happens at the very beginning of the movie, we see a ship that has been run aground. The titles at the screen, I mean, these aren't even spoilers because this is like before the movie actually even really starts. It tells you the backstory of what's going on and it just the lore. And so the ship has been wrecked on shore, and there is no crew. And so then we then flash back 4 weeks to watch the events play out. It's billed as a horror, but it's not really a horror in your traditional sense. It's more of a horror if you think back to the old monster movies, where you have, the shadowy figures and the intensity. Yeah, well, there's a couple of scenes where we see just a little bit of Dracula, and it reminded me like they might have taken some inspiration from Nosferatu, and
nice.
But which I thought was great. This is awesome, It's thrilling. I mean, there's anxiety that's built and some tension and a little bit of stress because it's all the atmosphere. I mean, you have tight, contained ship. It's like they can't go anywhere. They can go overboard, but that doesn't help anybody. But then within there's shadowy places to hide. And so, and even as they look, I mean, you might miss something or whatever. And so it's just
out of the corner of your eye. You see it, but then you look back and it's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah. Love that.
And as the voyage progresses, people start to die. And it's horrific, and what it does though is it's unsettling to the crew because they don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? And Corey Hawkins is the lead in this, and he's a doctor. He's university trained, so he's a man of science. And so he looks at all of these things and he approaches all of these like there has to be a reason why this is
logical
happening,
explanation.
Yeah, but then he's surrounded by sailors who are nothing but superstitious.
Yeah.
And so that mix is amazing. I mean, it's really great. It's the pacing feels a little slow at times, so it makes the movie feel a little longer than it is. Some of that though is necessary because the story builds up. We get to learn about certain characters, and at least form kind of an attachment to them. And there was one point where there was this one kill where I'm like, oh, you're not going to do that. Oh. It's it's gory, tense, just atmospheric. The effects. Okay, so the makeup and the practical effects, chef's kiss. I mean,
love it.
Beautiful. So good.
And they had a decent budget, so the fact that they've chosen to go on practical with a lot of it is really great.
Yeah. Now, the ship parts of it, as the ship that's CGI. And some of it you can tell that it's CGI, which that didn't bother me because I didn't expect them to build a full-scale ship, stick it out in the water for this. You know what I mean? Whatever.
Get a vampire.
And it does. Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't look bad. So it's not like it's like, oh my gosh, the ship is just floating there in some studio and you can totally tell every single time. There are just a few times, especially with the sun and the lighting, that it kind of is a little weird. But outside of that, I mean, it really is like the practical effects. I think you're going to enjoy it because they're done so well. And the movie holds back on showing us Dracula for so many of it.
It's great. Yeah, never show your monster very little until the end.
Exactly. We do get to finally, and it is, when the reveal comes, you're like, holy crap, because the crew is also now seeing it for the first time too. So our responses are exactly the same. And it's wonderful. I think if you go in expecting super scary horror, like, slasher type of thing, you are going to be disappointed. If you want fast paced, you're also going to be disappointed. If you're going in for like dramatic thriller with just good atmosphere and ambiance and just some growing dread, this is it. I mean, it's really well done. It surprised me. I wasn't sure I was going to enjoy it, or at least to the degree that I actually did. When I walked out of it, I was like, oh, that was okay. That wasn't bad. And then the more I thought about it on the drive home and making dinner and stuff, I was like, wow, you know what? I'm really appreciating more and more of this as I thought through it. So, yeah.
It hosts a really decent cast. Like, they're not often A-listers, but they're in films that they can really showcase their talent. How were they? Because I can think of three that were fantastic.
There's three additional main players. So David Dastmalchian, it actually took me a second to recognize him. Like he's a little chubbier, and which that's not an insult to him. I mean, he for the character, he's kind of bulked up a little bit and everything, and he is awesome in this because he is no nonsense. He's the second mate. He's very skeptical at certain things, but he's also very superstitious. So that, and he clashes with Corey Hawkins a lot, just their beliefs and their visual, how they see eye to eye on things, or they don't see eye to eye on things. Liam Cunningham is outstanding. He plays the captain, and he is... I mean, if you remember him from Game of Thrones, I mean, he has just this presence. I think he's Davros, right? Is that the name? And he's the sailor also, which is funny. So I don't know. Maybe he's really a sailor in life. He's a smuggler. But in this, he has a fatherly tone to him. where he's looking over the crew, and you can tell that he has a genuine concern for the crew, but he's also very fair and stern.
I like him
but
in that
not
role.
Mean or cruel.
Like, you're buying him in that role. Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah. No, it absolutely works. And then there's Aisling Franciosi,
Nice.
and she was in Game of Thrones, but what I remember her in was The Nightingale. And that is a devastating movie.
Yeah.
She's awesome in this. She doesn't speak for a lot of it, so it's just emotive through her eyes and her facial expressions. But she's wonderful within it. I mean, there's so much, I think, to like about this movie that it builds. You know what I mean? It has beats to it that just keep increasing the suspense and the tension, and never to really like trying to scare you, but just unsettle you a little bit, maybe creep you out just a tiny bit, so you get that, ooh, that's kind of weird, or there's a sense of dread, as the character is looking around something, because you're like, oh my gosh, something is going to jump out. I know it. And does it not, and so it's, yeah, a lot of fun.
Nice. Could you go watch it again, and this time take a camera with you and record it for me? Because I don't know that we're going to get that in the UK.
What?
Like, they had
There's
a release,
no release date,
and now the cinemas are saying, sorry, it's no longer scheduled at all, and we have no further information as to if we'll get it.
That's too bad. That sucks, because especially if you look at Rotten Tomatoes score, you'd be like, Chris, you're kind of, nobody else agrees with you. Well, that's fine.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I think some of it comes down to expectation, and what you think it's going to be going in. And I think if you go in with the right mindset of like, this is slower paced, kind of older school storytelling drama.
Yeah.
That has thrilling aspects to it, as well as some, there's gore, so there is horror aspects also. Then I think you can get into the story. I'm actually surprised that they're able to make a 2-hour movie out of a single chapter of a book.
I know, it's amazing. You would have felt like that would have stretched out, but the whole premise of just on a boat, contained horror, monster, and put people there trying to survive there in the middle of the ocean at a time when there's no other types of rescue, that makes for a good kind of plot beat. Yeah, and there's an opportunity for continuation of the Dracula story, which we know this is just a chapter in the book, yes, so there's more obviously to the story. Yeah, where I would love to see them take it. Just to see a new interpretation or a new retelling using, taking this director and seeing what he could do. So yeah. All right.
What's next?
So did you ever watch the American TV series? I think it had about 5 seasons, called Heroes.
Save the cheerleaders,
save the cheerleaders, save the world.
Yeah.
You did. Did you like it?
Yes, I did. I'm hard pressed to remember if I watched all of the seasons. The first season was awesome. The second season I think was okay, and then I don't remember after that.
Okay. Well, I stuck around. In fact, I've seen it 2 or 3 times, like all the way through.
Wow.
Because I watched it once, and then I watched it once with my wife, and then my son was like, what are you talking about? This airs. And then we watched it, and he loved it. And so, like, we have our favorite characters, Hiro Nakamura, who goes, Yatta! It's such a great character. Peter Petrelli. He's always shouting, Peter Petrelli! Yeah. So good. Anyway, we had this new series drop on Hulu and Disney this week called Moving. It's a South Korean series, like three teenagers concealing their superpowers and their parents who have lived with painful secrets, facing great danger over generations. This is this generation's heroes, and it's South Korea. Oh. Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be as much. There's an sort of agent hunting all the people with powers. There are the government agencies that have people with powers like being trained and watching what's going on. We have 2 storylines, which is basically the kids that are coming to terms with their powers, but also being kids in school in South Korea. There's a bullying theme that continues to like go in there. But unbeknownst to them, they live like a fairly outside of the world that their parents live in or have lived in, where this agent is like hunting them down, killing all the people with powers. So we have like these two worlds. The parents are trying to protect their kids in the best way they know how, really like tough life. But it's also like coming of age, family, in the best way that they can showcase it, how South Korean series do that, like with gay drama. You have the drama, day-to-day life of what it's like to be in school, how to make friends. We start off with this kid that can fly. He floats, but he can't control it. So like in his room, his mom has put sponges, like padding, because like he would sleep, and any time he gets excited, he'll just float to the roof. His mom feeds him so much in order to keep him weighted down, but he also has like so much weight. He has like those weights on his ankles, weighted in his backpack, and because of that, he's always late for school. So which means that the person who's late for school gets to clean the toilets after school. So like there's this knock-on effect. And then one day there's this other girl that joins for the last semester of that year, and they befriend each other, and they like, start helping each other out. And it's this beautiful kind of friendship, maybe love story, no spoilers. We have another kid that has powers, but he's kind of on the outskirts, being told to look after them. And then we have the parents that have been hunted. Dude, like, on the one hand, this could be a PG series, like with the kids and their stories. But when we come down to the fighting sequences with the agent hunting down these parents, these adults with superpowers, it's so brutal. It reminds me of The Boys almost, that kind of brutality. Great fight sequences, really well done with the use of powers that don't feel like it's an X-Men story. It's rather they've learned to control their powers and they're trying to get on with life. I love the way they use powers. You have electricity, and I won't spoil any others for you because you might not guess like some of them that you get in this.
Fun.
There's 7 episodes that dropped. I've seen 10 because I got screeners. I'd love to know, Chris, if you watch it on Hulu, whether the timing issues has been sorted, the syncing of the dubbing.
Oh,
sorry, the subtitles.
The subtitles.
Yeah, because I got them to send me ones from Disney because it's on Disney, and those worked fine. But I wondered if they went back and spent time adjusting it, because you would have to, because it was bad. But seriously, emotionally, I was totally gripped. Like by the second or third episode, I was like in love with some of the characters, loved them.
Ooh. And
so when stuff starts happening to them, I was just like, no, not that one. Like leave them alone. Anybody but that person. You're rooting for them, but you also know that there's a reason why the bad guys are doing what they're doing. So we get backstory. There's often half an episode that would just go way back into the past and show us how we got to that, or how that person got to that. And it really builds up a nice, like, just, who the characters are by the time. You might not know them when you're first introduced, but they will definitely spend time with the characters. So you know what the parents have gone through. There's a lot of weight to each of the characters because they're built so nicely. So the special effects, I think, look great. I'm not as nitpicky as others on that. I think the acting is really good. The pacing, well done. I know it's 20 episodes, but they've done this thing where they've dropped a chunk. So 7 episodes all together. And then every week, I think it's on Thursday, that they're dropping 2 together. So you get a nice chunk up to the 20th episode. I'll be going back and watching the rest once they're all out. But definitely one of my favorite series of the year so far.
Oh, nice. How long are the episodes?
45 minutes.
Okay, so this is an investment. I mean, it's
easy.
But that's nice. Yeah, and that's nice though that when they drop 2, you feel like you're getting an actual chunk of content versus just one. Oh yes, I love that. Ruben has frozen on the screen. It looks like his battery has died and he is like mid-drink, but he's amazingly not drinking any more of the soda. It's just staying exactly where it was. Were we talking runtime? Oh, it's just nice. It's nice to have a chunk of a chunk of content each week. Like you actually feel like you're getting content versus a small little shorty episode. Which,
so someone commented it's a shame that Netflix didn't get the license for this, because they feel like it would have had a much wider scope, much more people talking about this, because on the Disney app, it's buried. I had to search for it. It wasn't even on their new content out this week, which is ridiculous. On Hulu, I don't know what it's like on that app, but you'll have to let me know. But even the trailers are really small, and normally with the Korean trailers on Netflix, they get like millions of views, or at least 1 million. And this type of content seems like it's a series that it would cater to a lot of K-dramas, superhero, deep lore, all of that. And there's been really no kind of hype for it, which is bonkers.
Yeah, that's I'd never even heard of it until you sent me the link to the trailer. And yeah, it looks great. But yeah, I have not seen any marketing around this in the US. So, yeah. All right. Moving on. I'm going to talk about another horror-ish monster creature feature type thing. I occasionally get sent emails with screeners in them. Like they just send them. PR companies
they just send them. Watch this.
Yeah, they do. And most of the time, I don't even I'll look at like some of the stills, or I look at the trailer and I'm like, no.
This is straight to TV. Forget about movie.
Yeah. The camera work is so low quality, and just you can tell. And it's not to say that maybe there aren't something redeeming in there, but this though, I watched it and I'm like, holy crap, how did they, do you have the right movie? Because all your other ones in this lineup are poo looking. This one actually looks cinematic.
What's it called?
And it's a French and Luxembourgish movie called Wolfkin. And the original title was Communion, and
that's what it comes up on IMDb.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm glad they're using now the title of Wolfkin, because the communion aspect of that is kind of lost in the movie.
Okay. Well, it's more accessible anyway, Wolfkin as a title.
Yeah. It's a coming of age story. It's a family drama. There's some awesome effects in this.
Okay.
Makeup, and we get to see some transformation happening, and it's outstanding.
It's about werewolves?
Yes. And the movie's not flawless. Okay, so I don't want like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever, this is the greatest. It's not. It has shortcomings. It has portions of it where I wish we would have sat with this more, like the communion aspect of it. There is a religious arc within this, and a belief and a ritual that goes around this that is barely touched on just at the end. And I wanted more of that, because it feels like that's what we're building to, but we don't have any of that until boom, it just happens. You get a little bit of church early, which shows how the grandparents are kind of religious, but outside of that, you don't. And you have the tension there, because the mom is atheist, or at least agnostic. I mean, she's, so you have automatically just differing of beliefs there. The pacing, it is a slower build, and it's a slower story, and you get some wonderful visuals. You get some things where you don't know if what we're watching is a dream.
There's two types of slow. There's one that's still captivating. There's one that's boring. So which one is this? This is captivating.
Not boring.
Okay.
Yeah, not boring. I was not bored at all. I was like so intrigued by it and just sucked in, and it actually really surprised me, because when I watched the trailer, I was like, oh, this might be good, this might be cool, I mean, it looks good, so at least you've accomplished one thing to get my attention, and
love me some werewolf. But is it as good as Dog Soldiers, Chris? Because you saw that.
It's so much better than Dog Soldiers.
How dare you? It can't be. What are you talking about?
Totally different movie. Don't, if you don't, I mean, really, it's so much less about werewolves, than it is about
living with werewolves.
This living mom and her son, it's mother's love, It's
So like
coming of
Twilight?
age. No.
Not
No,
like that either.
no, stop. Just that's gross. Don't.
Is there anything to compare it to? Like, I'm trying to think. Wolf.
No, nothing. Nothing from a
werewolf movie.
werewolf related. No,
Interesting.
no.
Okay.
If you think about, and I'm struggling to find a movie like that just pops into my head where it's really about a mother-son relationship with family, with like larger family dynamics that feed in. That's what this becomes. You have the grandparents who are very knowledgeable, but they're secretive also. Like they don't outright say everything. The mom has come to visit them because of things that have been happening with her son, especially at school. He's being bullied and then he bites people. So, which, I mean, hey, fair enough. If you're going to bully me and I can't take you down with my fists, I'll take you down with my teeth. But they,
Nice.
they go there as kind of a reprieve just to start over, get him away from that environment and everything.
Yeah.
There's I don't know if it's really her husband, but the boy's father's brother is a trash human being.
Okay.
And we get to see where he fits within and how he views people who are not like him. And so when certain things happen, you root for some things and you're like, oh no, what's going to happen? I appreciate the ending of this because it's very fitting for the story.
Nice.
And it really, I mean, it matches well. It may not be the ending that you want, but it does work with the arc, and it's like, okay, this all lines up.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on demand. I don't know. I doubt it got any kind of theatrical release. I mean, maybe in the UK or in Europe. It hit some festivals in 2022.
Right.
And I think maybe even a couple in 2023. And again, this was not on my radar. It was not. I just, before I went on vacation, I actually pounded through it, and then was like, oh, you know what, I really like that, and so let me just took the time to stay up late and do a review of it, and yeah, I'm happy that I watched it. So
Okay. Nice.
yeah.
Talking about films that you didn't expect to watch.
Yeah.
Do you know why the Scarecrow got an award, Chris?
Do I know why the Scarecrow got an award? No.
He was outstanding in his field.
Oh, man. It's going to play now in just a second. It just didn't do it. I don't know what's going on. Oh, where did my drum thing go?
Your drum
Stupid.
kits. Oh, no. I feel let down. But no.
There we go. That was way too late and stupid. That was bad.
Anywho,
bad. Okay.
This film came out in 2022. I quite like the real story this is based on. Do you know about the Lizzie Bowden serial killer story?
Gave her mom 40 whacks.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, what her father seen what she had done, she gave him 41. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is based on that family. It's called The Inhabitant. A series of supernatural events reveal a dark truth behind a tormented teenage.
That was ill-timed. That was not supposed to happen. Oh, I apologize to everybody. That was humorous, also distracting.
Brilliant. Okay. So The Inhabitants. Yeah, this comes out to digital this week in the UK at least. It might be out in the US already. So we have what we call Fright Fest London, and there's a bunch of new movies and old ones coming and I've got like a bunch of screeners that I'm just going to be pounding through of this new stuff. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be great.
I've
but
got
this
two.
is
I'm looking.
Hey, this is one of them. So we have a great cast actually. Leslie Bibb as Emily, who plays the mom. Dermot Mulroney as Ben, who's the dad. Lizzie Broadway, who's the best friend to Odessa Azine, who's Tara. It's a really good cast. It's an interesting premise. I mustn't forget Jackson Dean Vin. He plays Caleb, the young brother. So don't go into this film thinking that it's awesome. It kind of feels like a straight-to-TV movie less than an indie movie. Like, it just has that feel aesthetically. But at the same time, it has some really creative shots that elevated it slightly for me. There were some moments I just thought, I love the transition of that, or I love what you did with the color palette there. Unfortunately, it's also very long in the tooth. The first hour and a half, let me just check how.
It's only 97 minutes.
The first hour and 10 minutes is the setup of the big climactic ending. Yeah. So it's basically this girl that she knows she is a Bowden, and there's this family curse. And her mom keeps telling her, like checking on her at the age of 16 is when you start getting these dreams. And then if you actually get the curse or you get possessed by a demon or something, you will start killing people. So her mom keeps checking on it because that's the heritage of the family. And so you go with this girl as her boyfriend is moving to another place. Her best friend is wanting things of her, but she's trying to compartmentalize her breakdown in her mind and her family unit that seems to be something's not quite right with her family. You know, mom and dad always fighting. And there's just big changes in her life, as well as she's not telling anybody she's starting to get these dreams. And so it plays on the degradation of her mind. So you see as her mind, as the minutes tick by, her mind breaking up, and you're never sure of whether she is like the person that is starting to take people out and kill people, or if it's somebody else. And so, because it takes its time, by the time we get the last 20 minutes is what I think most people will enjoy. The last 20 minutes of the film do well. Like, there's twists and turns, things you might have seen coming, but you wanted to happen, things you won't have seen coming, and then one thing right at the end, which will just leave you going, ugh, really? You'll be like, really? But at least it ends well. I like the story of the Lizzie Bowden story, and I like the acting in this. There's a good movie in here, which is why I put it in my best thing I watched. that just not surrounded by all of the good stuff. Like, it didn't need to take that long to get into the meat of the story. In fact, we needed more meat of the end rather than wrap it up so quickly. There were some answers that I think I would have liked. I would have liked a bit more gore and like seeing it a bit more. There's a lot of someone running towards it, cut camera, scene, weapon in body sort of attack, rather than actually getting to see the craziness. So it's not always like that. So, like I take from this was fun to but they did this, and this was fun, and then you know, like what do you call when you're playing time to, like a
pendulum,
the
like seesaw,
a metronome.
Yeah.
So the one hand, it's good. So I think if you're a fan of the Lizzie Bowden story, you'll like what they've done with this. There's a creepiness that starts out right from the beginning that I think you'll like the atmosphere that they're creating. Creatively, you'll like some of what's going on there with this film, and the acting is fairly decent. However, it takes its time getting there, and the execution is good, but you might not like the last few seconds of the film, which might have put a damp on it. So like it's up and down. So it depends on how you like this stuff. The Inhabitant, it comes out next week, I believe.
It's available here in the U.S. To rent.
Okay.
It's $6 on Prime. Is that worth it?
See, I'd pay like £3.50, which is a rental, which is about $5 something, right?
Yeah, I mean, when I rent things, normally, they're about $2.99, $3.99. That's about what we do in pounds. But if you're converting, it's about $4.50. Just because the dollar sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, so maybe.
Yeah. So maybe. What's the trailer?
Glowing review from Ruben. Okay. Okay. Last on my list is this is a movie which a lot of people have told me to watch, saying you will really enjoy this. I think you've probably even told me this. I'd never seen it. It's from 2016. I had basically caught up on everything that I had on my calendar to watch, and I just I was starting to not feel great, and so I needed something to just enjoy. You know what I mean? I wasn't going to review. I didn't need to take notes on or anything like that.
That's why I stuck Men on. Yeah.
Oh, wow! You were in for a surprise then.
Yes, yes, I was.
Well, it's The Nice Guys with Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe.
Nice.
Are you a fan of this movie?
Big fan.
Okay, never seen it. Okay, I love Ryan Gosling, and I mean, you see where his humor in this is also present in Barbie. Also, that comedic timing that he's got,
dry comedy timing. Yeah,
exactly. And when he's bouncing off of Russell Crowe as these mismatched detectives,
honestly, one of my favorite comedy duos, like since Lethal Weapon. It's like very good.
They're really good together, aren't they? I mean, and they're so different. That's the thing that I like. And there's so many moments where I laughed literally out loud. Like the second time Ryan Gosling falls down something and Russell Crowe asks him, and the incredulousness of that, is that a word? Whatever, it is a word now. Nice. Of him, you're just like, no, I didn't fall. What are you just knowing? But then you have Angourie Rice, who, while she's young, but she is a scene stealer. I mean, her timing with both Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling is outstanding. And then Margaret Qualley, she has a smaller role, but an influential role within the story, and I liked her, but I loved this noir-ish detective story that you don't really know where it's going totally. I mean, you
kind of, it's one of those stories that you think you know what's going on, but then you don't.
Yeah, and they would throw in a new twist, and you're like, oh wait, oh cool, oh well, then it connects to this, and then something else comes in, and Matt Bomer, as John Boy, Keith David. Oh my gosh, he's just outstanding anyway. Oh, somebody went and threw away a perfectly good white boy.
Lewis Smith. I totally forgot she was in it. Mrs. Glenn.
Yeah, she's really fun in this too. Kim Basinger. I mean, what? I haven't seen her in forever. And so it was just it was a lot of fun. The setting of the 70s in LA was kind of weird to me at first because I couldn't totally tell where in time it really was, because sometimes they're talking about things that I don't think were around at that time, or you see some cars that you're like, is that real? You know, not enough to ruin anything. Literally a buddy cop comedy in action.
But apart from the two main protagonists, you know why this works. Because Shane Black.
He wrote and directed it. Yeah.
The guy that gave us the Last Boy Scout, Last Action Hero, Long Kiss Goodnight, Lethal Weapon movies. So
exactly, yeah. So he knows the buddy cop.
Yeah.
And
the
and it works.
Really works, yeah.
Oh, dude, yeah. I loved the pace of this. I thought it was it's just under 2 hours, which I don't even think, there's it has a good flow to it. Because it will get exciting, and then it will slow down to tell a little bit more of the mystery and to have them, examine things, and it'll speed back up again. And so, yeah, good time. Yeah. Oh, all right. Do you have anything else?
No, I've only got anime stuff.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, it's time then for our over 9,000.
Over 9,000! It's over 9,000!
I love it.
What's his power level? Oh, it's going up. No, it's almost hitting 9,000. It's 9,000. No, it's over 9,000. Okay, I'll stop now. All right, this week on Ruben's Wall of Anime, Ruben's Wall of Weird. Now that's going back to Smallville. My son and I continued to watch an anime that we hadn't watched for a while. Been waiting till there's more episodes, but we do love this anime because it's based in science. So basically, awakened into a world where humanity has been petrified, scientist genius Senku and his brawny friend Taju, I think it's Taju, use their skills to rebuild civilization. So I think it starts in 2030, and there's this huge beam of green light that just petrifies the whole world's civilization. The only people that haven't been petrified are those in space, in space rockets. And so they come down to Earth and kind of populate the Earth with like 20 people. Like that's what's left, or probably more, because there's a few other space rockets, but very, very few people. 3,387 years later, or something like that, we have this kid, young, let's say 17, 18, who was petrified back in 2030.
Oh.
But he'd been counting in his head since his petrification. He hadn't stopped. So you're apparently still alive, and you're kind of conscious, but you can lose your mind because you've been in there for so long. You just kind of like stop, but your brain is there. So in order to make himself not go mental, he counts. And through circumstances, there's like citric acid and something else that drips slowly on his, and it just creates this magic concoction that can crack his outer shell, and he comes alive. So we have no technology. It's just human civilization, the derelict. Skyscrapers, brush, animals, everything that's got the earth is healed. And so what you have is him, this science mind, trying to rebuild civilization. So there's 3 seasons so far. The first season is like 25 episodes, second 12, third is 12, and then there's a short movie episode that's 45 minutes between season 2 and 3. We're on season 3 now, but it's the way they take science and they break it down. They show you like the bits of things and the chemical compounds, the rocks, the salt, the things that you would need to make things in that world. And it really opens up your eyes to like everything that you take for granted of what you would need. If you got stuck, like what actually would it take for us to bring civilization back? You know, from weaving, from clothes to food to crops to hunting. Like if you know the basic compounds with the knowledge that we have of today, it is actually quite amazing what you can do. And, you know, things like how do you actually make penicillin again when you have no tools? Like what do we have to defend ourselves with? So there's some antagonists, like he uses more of the magic compound to bring other people back that are hunters and way stronger than him, that have a different ideal. Like he wants to bring civilization back. They call him Dr. Stone, is Senku, but others don't want to bring civilization back. They just want to be the hunters, and you know this is Earth telling us that we made a mistake. So there's philosophies that bounce heads off each other, but it's just such an enjoyable ride because of he says, now we're going to do something amazing. We're going to bring something back from civilization, and it's music or it's a car, and he'll make a paper car out of like bamboo and literally sheets of paper that they're made with like a goo from the tree that's actually hardened, and you're like, oh my gosh, he's just made carbon fiber or something like that. Like you wonder how these things are made, and then you see it and it's kind of logical. It's like, why don't I do more? I should be better at life. So it makes you feel good but also bad, because you're like, oh, that's yeah, damn it. Where are my smarts? It's a really interesting, nice concept.
Well, you also haven't been frozen in time for 3,000 years, so
true. But you know those stories of if an apocalypse happened, that argument you have with your family, I'd be great in a zombie apocalypse. Maybe you would be at first, but then how do you survive when everything is gone? And are you as fit? Will you be able to defend your home against raiders or the chavs now turned gangs?
Well, see, my girth will allow me to live longer because I can live off my fat stores.
Or other people can live off your fat stores.
Well, this is true also. So, all right. One very important question. What is this anime called? Dr.
Stone. I said.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I said they call him Dr. Stone. I didn't tell you that's what it's called. Or its Japanese name is Dokuta Sutun.
Okay.
I'm sure I'm not decimating that name at all. Dokuta Sutun. Yeah, Dr. Stone. You can find that on Crunchyroll or
Oh,
Funimation, or Funimation if you want to hear the English.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Really great. On Netflix this week, we had the second part to an animated film, The Seven Deadly Sins, Grudge of Edinburgh Part 2. It's for some reason, Netflix and its animation studios have gone CGI for this animated series that used to be properly animated rather than CG. I didn't like the first part because of the CG, but going into the second part, knowing that it was CG, I enjoyed it more, so I could just enjoy the battles. It takes the sons of our main characters from the Seven Deadly Sins and puts them up against a big bad that has something out for our main characters. The mom of our hero has a curse, and it's the son's job to break the curse and stop the big bad from doing the thing that, it's such a basic story, but it's classic anime.
Yeah.
My suggestion would be that if you haven't watched part 2 or 1, that it's probably a good thing, because you can watch part 1 and 2 together and watch it as one contained movie, because it feels like it should never been split up. It's like watching The Witcher one episode, like season 3, episodes 1 to 5, and then waiting a month for 6, 7, 8. It's stupid. Just watch them back to back as one contained story, because that's what they are. It stops mid-fight as they're about to fight, and then the second part picks up with the fight, which is, I don't know why they're doing this anymore, but it is what it is.
It is a terrible trend.
Yeah, it is a terrible trend. As far as the Seven Deadly Sins go, it is the worst helping that we've had from them.
Okay.
Yeah, so I still like seeing the characters, but we've had much better storylines. This is apparently a setup to the next arc that they're bringing in to the Arthur storyline. So I think it's meant to be King Arthur, but I think he's a bad guy in this. So him and his knights or something. So it's setting up. I should get this right. Have you heard of the?
I've heard of the Seven Deadly Sins.
Yes,
but I mean, heard of
anime.
Oh, the anime? Yeah. That's what I meant.
Okay.
Not that I've seen David Fincher's Seven. I know what's going on. No. Yeah, no, I've heard of this anime. I've never heard of this particular story movie.
Yeah. So let me see what it says here. Yes, here we go. The Seven Deadly Sins movie with an original story by the series creator Nabaka Suzuki. A new story connecting the Seven Deadly Sins and the Four Knights of the Apocalypse begins. So that's the next story, the Four Knights of the Apocalypse.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. And that is my animing for this week.
Oh, okay. Cool. Well, thank you for joining us. We hope you've enjoyed it. We hope we've given you something maybe to put on your watch list, or maybe something to avoid, depending on how it sounded to you. Don't forget, we have a Patreon opportunity at patreon.com/thebeardedones. It's on the screen and in the description below. For just £1, you can get in on that. There are over 60 videos right now, more being added each week. There are even a couple that are outside the paywall, so that you can watch them for free just to get a sampling of what we do. There are also other tiers that give you different types of access and different types of requests, I guess the best way to say that. And so you can check out all of those, patreon.com/thebeardedones. Don't forget, we have an audio exclusive portion to this podcast where we talk about a movie that either we've never seen before or it's been a really long time. We're talking about Odd Thomas this week. It was my first time watch. Ruben, one of his favorite movies. He's been wanting me to see it for quite a while. We're also going to hit on the worst thing that we watched, as well as some entertainment news and the things that are coming up within the next week or so that you may want to put on your calendar. Also, very important, share, subscribe. Ruben with the Ruby Tuesday, me, Chris, Movies and Munchies. All of that really helps the channel, the algorithms, all of that stuff. And so we appreciate your time. We appreciate you sticking around. Let us know what the best things are that you watch this week. Put those in the comments below. With that, we'll see you next week. All right. Take care.